Hi, it's Tego Venturi, Venturi Realty Group, Keller Williams Realty in Albuquerque with a market update. It is September. Beautiful sunny day here in Albuquerque, and we've got the data came in the last week looking at our August numbers, and I want to go through that. And but I want to share this with you. We'll do a really quick look at some of these numbers, but I want to take a really deeper look into buyer demand, because there's been so much conversation about supply, or in this case, lack of supply, meaning the number of homes on the market has been at an all-time low. And if we look at this chart right here, this is our month supply of inventory. We're at a very, very low number. I mean, this is 0.9, so it's less than a month's supply. And generally, we consider 5, 6, 7 months as kind of a balance, not a buyer's market or a seller's market. We are so far from that right now. And so the question is, okay, are we going to get a flood of supply that could suddenly change the dynamic and make prices start to come down? It's not looking like it, and I'm not going to go down the road on the whole forbearance foreclosure thing, but I will just say that all indication is that there's not going to be a big flood of properties coming on the market. Again, that's a 1 hour conversation, and we're not going to do that here today. But there's a lot of good data out there if you actually go out and look for it. But let's look at sale prices. Average sale prices, this is both detached and attached homes, for August was at $330,000. Not quite an all-time high, because it was at $337,000 in July. And so there was a slight pullback, and wait for it. And then and median price, same thing. So we're down to $285,000, and that's for both, again, attached and detached. We hit over $300,000 median price for detached homes in Albuquerque, which was a pretty big benchmark. But you're saying, oh, prices are starting to slip when you look at this. Well, actually, if we look at this one, price per square foot, we've actually still increased. We've gone up again. We've taken another step up. And price per square foot is now at $171. And if we look at this on a 12-month rolling basis, we've seen a 15.4% increase annualized in home prices, price per square foot, which is probably about where we're running for price appreciation in Albuquerque. So real quick on supply, and then I want to show you some of this demand data. Where is it? Homes for sale. So if we look at homes for sale, and let's, didn't want to do that. Let me change this. Sorry about that. Bear with me. Okay, monthly. And let's look at a long-term chart here. This is the number of homes for sale going back to 2006, and you can see back then when the market was go crazy, actually not even quite as crazy it's been here in the last, let's say 5 months. We had a very low inventory. Well, we went below that here earlier in the year, and we're still below that. We did have a little bit of bump up in July in the number of homes on the market, but it's still very low. But you look at this, back after the market turn and basically what I'm calling the financing bubble that was created by bad financing back in 06, 07, we ended up with a lot of homes on the market, as many as 7,000 homes. But over time, we've whittled it down, and now we're down, and again, there's about 1,000 homes, give or take 1,100 homes on the market at any given time. We could easily be somewhere in here, let's say 6 months supply, and so that's like 4,000 or 5,000 homes, and still not be in a what we'd call buyer's market, where there's more sellers competing for buyers versus what we have right now, which is more buyers competing for properties. I want to look at some demand stats, because I think this is really telling on where we're at. We don't see, again, a big increase in the supply side, and I wanted to look at the demand side and say, okay, well, what's going on with demand? Because that could make a big difference if suddenly demand just drops off and people don't want to buy homes. First off, I'm looking at this is a piece of data that comes out from Realtor.com. It's called Market Hotness. This chart is actually on the, going to scroll up here on the St. Louis Fed website. They put it out, which is nice. And what it's basically just an index of how many people are looking at homes in a particular market. So in our case, Albuquerque. And you can see we've been very strong even through the recession time here, which is this dark area. And since 2019 and 2018, going back here, demand, meaning the number of people looking at homes in the Albuquerque market relative to other markets for Albuquerque is still very strong. So there's that demand piece. Well, there's the other step then. Okay, so we went back that far. There is how many people are applying for loans. This is a national stat. I don't have a local number, but it kind of, it definitely is telling on what's going on. And what we're looking at is a chart of mortgage applications for purchases. This was put out by the Mortgage Bankers Association. They put it out weekly. A really great index to show, okay, how many people have raised their hand, put in a loan application. A very good indicator of demand. You can see it's down right now versus, this was the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic here, this dip, and then it went up. And it was very strong there, obviously, through the end of last year. Into this year, it's pulled back. But you still look at it from a historical standpoint. If you look at the blue line across there, you can still see that we still have good mortgage demand for purchases. This is we're not talking refinances. Refinances are very strong too. But purchase applications are still very strong. Another thing we look at, kind of the next step in the process, is, okay, how many people are out looking at homes? This is a stat we get from our showing software called Showing Time. And what this does, it tracks the number of people that are looking at homes. The golden line here, and I'll just give you the cliff notes. The golden line here is this year. The other two lines are 2020 and then 2021. If you look at the dark line here, that was the big dip at the beginning of COVID, and you can see obviously a lot of showing activity really stopped there for a while, but came roaring back. And if you look at now comparing the 3 years, it stayed very steady, and we've continued to have steady foot traffic, as I call it, through, well, just last week. So that indicator of buyer demand is still very solid and strong as well. And then the last indicator I want to show you on demand is the number of pending sales. And this is the one chart for this month that really jumped out at me in this bit of data. And what we're looking at are pending sales for the Albuquerque market for August compared to every month back to 2003. And for August of 2021, we had 1,479 homes receive an offer, go under contract, go pending, go into escrow, whatever you want to call it, all meaning the same thing. And second highest month on record. The only other time was June of last year, which was just after the initial pandemic hit. People realized, oh my gosh, I need to do something about my housing situation. So we had a huge month in June of 2020 for pending sales. But August of 2021, second highest month ever, even going back to those days in 2005 when things were pretty nutty too. So anybody that says the housing market is slowing down, I'm not sure what they're looking at, but I will assure you it's not happening here in Albuquerque. It may be happening in other parts of the country. We tend to get news stories that are national news stories that show national data, but not the local data. So right now, gosh, the takeaway on how long did I go here? Oh my gosh, 10 minutes. If you're still there, I applaud you and say thank you if this was good, and if there's other data you want to learn about or know what's going on, just give me a shout out. But the market is very strong in Albuquerque. I do not see anything that indicates a slide in home prices because, as we just saw, demand is very strong, supply is very low, and there's nothing on the horizon that looks like that's going to change that. Again, I don't want to get into the whole forbearance, foreclosure, delinquency thing, but I will tell you this. There was a stat that came out, and that the number of people in delinquency status on their mortgages this year, 12 months versus basically year over year, 37% decrease in the number that are in the delinquent status, and that is for New Mexico. So things are going the right direction there as well. So that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. Give me a shout out if you've got any questions about the market in Albuquerque. Take care.